I'm the chairman and CEO of DynCorp International. We're a services company that fundamentally supports national security and foreign policy objectives around the world, primarily with the U.S., our allies, and other friendly nations. If you think about it, we have about 25,000 employees or teammates distributed around 35 countries and 150 locations. The legacy of our company is around aviation, but it's evolved to include construction, training and mentoring, international development, intelligent training solutions. And if you think about what we try to do, you have a conflict, a post-conflict, and then a reconstruction or stabilization phase. The services that we offer kind of support each of those three phases in the life cycle. And so we have a defense practice, we have a diplomacy practice, and an international development practice. Strategic agility, it's very apropos topic right now. If you think about the macros that we have going on in our world with, the tail end of two wars, you have such pressures, fiscal pressures on our budgets as a country. If you think about the last 8-9 years in the particular markets that we serve, aerospace and defense, and that's what we're here talking about today, you had huge growth in those budgets. Well, we're now faced, probably a decline over the next few years. So being agile, being flexible, being able to respond and act accordingly and move the needle on your company is going to be a real challenge. So the topic is really perfect timing. So the way I view strategic agility, it really comes down to the people, it comes down to leadership, and it comes down to the culture that you really have inside of your company. And I'm a true believer that in any company, I've worked for companies like Allied Signal and ITT and Litton, and I've been in this business a long time. And there's pluses and minuses with all of those command and control structures of those companies. But in my mind, probably the most important thing in a company is the value systems that they have, and then the leadership attributes that are in their folks that actually bring those values to life. Those two things coupled together are what really define the intentional culture of a company. And it's that culture that the employees really become satisfied with and loyal to. And that's really the only time you get profitable growth, right? When you get productivity gains. And it was clearly articulated in a Harvard Business School report, but it's something that I've embraced for many years. So value systems, making sure that all 25,000 DynCorp employees have the same values, that we really believe and respect one another, and that we want to treat each other fairly. That the leadership that's in our structure, being able to create the future, being able to be strategic and global strategic thinking. Is important. Being able to lead with character is one of those leadership components that's so important. Having the courage and will to make a difference, being humble. Well, we are a services company, so our products are our people. So therefore, the type of leadership attributes that you would look for in the top quartile of a hardware development company is what a services company needs throughout its entire structure. And that's why the emphasis has to be, so blatant top down. So when we look at, so when we sell a product, we actually go and deploy, hundreds, if not thousands of people to go shoulder to shoulder with our customers providing the mission. Good example, one of our programs, we have over 15,000 employees over in Afghanistan, supporting the build out and maintenance of all the forward operating bases in the Southern District, as well as training all of the National Police and Army. So it's our trainers and our mentors and our HVAC technicians and our grounds people that are actually the product that we're trying to sell. So it's important that they have these leadership attributes that allows them then to build strong teams and inspire commitment, and at the same time then deliver results. So one of the things we're doing is making sure that we're just not talking about leadership, but we're actually reviewing and assessing folks not on just a results type of basis, but on a results and behaviors basis. And again, it is very soft in terms of a soft skill, very hard to do, but in a services model, it's just it's so important. So we've actually been bold, and we've defined what leadership attributes we believe are important. And we have 25 of them. And we give examples to our supervisors and first-line managers of what to look for. But before we do that, we actually have adopted our own social contract, which says, most leaders talk about culture, right? You want a good culture. Mark Ronald talked about it today in one of his keynotes. Well, we've taken it to the next step and said, well, what is the culture that we're looking for? And we defined the 10 things that we were going to hold ourselves to. Things that you'd recognize, respecting opinions of others and engaging in open, honest communications often, and valuing the contributions of others. Sounds very simple, but now that we've documented it and deployed it, and we actually use it now as a litmus test for our leaders, are they really living the social contract? If they're not, then we'll correct them, right? If they still have a hard time with it, then they behave their way off the team. Because again, as an artifact of a services company, right, we don't have products that are going to be left behind us, right? We don't have systems that are going to be deployed in the field. So the artifacts of a services company are really the stories that you hear about the people that were actually delivering the mission. So the stories that we want to be told about DynCorp international employees are ones where they get it, they're committed to the mission, they're transparent, they lean forward, they confront reality, they treat people with respect. And again, because it's those behaviors which will cause people to feel good about being part of that team, and then that team will then outperform our competitor's team, who's not worrying as much about those soft skills. So that's part of our strategy. Yeah, it's a great question, and the one that we spend a lot of time thinking about. And so I go back to the premise that we have a handful of service offerings. We've been maintaining aircraft for 50 years for every department within the service, as well as other government agencies. We've been in the construction and stabilization business for 40 years. We've been in the contingency operations or emergency disaster relief business for a long time. We've been in the training and mentoring business a long time. So what we're seeing is as the defense or the combat mission, for instance, in Iraq declines, the diplomatic mission increases. And so the same services offering that we would give the DoD one day, we're now seeing an increase in demand through state. As the diplomacy, continues, then you start to see more development and infrastructure build, and that brings our other service offerings up. So, you always try to have a business portfolio that is, counter-cyclical, right? And in our strategy, we think that, having a nice balance between combat, non-combat, and reconstruction is the correct mix, and that's what we're going to be focused on. Well, 6 months ago, we were acquired by Cerberus Capital. And I became the chair and CEO when that acquisition was finalized. We have other service properties inside the portfolio, which I'm responsible for. So we're going to have two prongs to our strategy. We're going to have an organic strategy where we have a robust business development pipeline. We're going to use the appropriate skills that we have in order to increase the probability of winning organically. And at the same time, as companies start to fall off in their revenues or the capital markets are no longer as supportive of their balance sheet as they might have been, we'll take advantage of those things as well. But right now, we believe there's still enough of new business in the organic pipeline where we'll be okay for a few years. Yeah, again, we're a services company, so what we're looking for are those small companies that offer an innovative solution, maybe either on the transaction side or on the service offering side. I mentioned earlier that we have about 15,000 employees and teammates in Afghanistan. About a third are either Afghan companies or other small businesses helping us serve the mission. So when you have so many different projects globally and your real core competency is being a contingency operator, meaning we'll go anywhere, anytime, get the job done, you have to have modular and scalable business practices, and you really have to rely on your integrated supply chain, to fill the needs. So we have, I think, a very good leader in that particular area of our business. We have great relationships with our small business community, and we have a mentality of we don't need to organically perform all the work. Let's form the best team, and because the best team generally wins at the end of the day. That's how we look at it.